Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
Today we're talking about Hero Realms by White Wizard Games.
So Hero Realms falls into the line of Realms games: Star Realms, Colony Wars, Cthulhu Realms.
That's it. You've hit.
That's
all.
Hero Realms. All right.
There we go.
Where it's just a deck builder condensed into a small one deck kind of travel-sized game.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, if you've played Star Realms, Cthulhu, any of those before, you won't notice any huge differences mechanically.
Yeah.
So the power level is definitely higher. The colors are a little bit different. They don't copy if you see a blue card, you're not like, oh, I know it's going to do this. From Star Realms, they kind of don't. So it's a reinventing, a retheming, and all that. But by and large, it's mostly the same game.
Yeah, if you've played the other ones before and you just get the core basic starter set of Hero Realms, you can just open the box and play right in the box. You can forget the rule book, basically.
Well, okay, there's one rule difference. The heroes, or whatever they're called, the bases are now something that they have like these
exhaust
abilities. I was so close to saying tap. They have these abilities, and the only reason why that's relevant is there are some cards that will let you unexhaust them, so you can use their abilities twice.
Yeah, but other than that,
about it.
Yeah, other than that, and I'd say it's closer to Star Realms than Cthulhu Realms, because Cthulhu Realms is so symbol-based, and this goes back to being word-based, which I really like. The symbols were nice. It made a very fluid, seamless game. It was like everything flowed so well together, but when you use the words, it's able to have a lot more variety in what can happen.
Yeah, I'm actually almost kind of surprised at how different Cthulhu Realms is from these other ones. It almost seems like an offshoot, whereas this is like a series.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? This is the Star Wars main storyline. Cthulhu Realms was Rogue One.
Yeah, which I mean, that's TMG took that one, so
right,
they put their little spin-off. Essentially, Hero Realms is a mirror of Star Realms. There's a few differences, but they're essentially the same game. I'd probably pick Star Realms over Hero Realms in just the main set, just because of theme, and I think I don't know if I'm used to it, it just flows a little better. However, Hero Realms has something that makes me think it's just so much different game and has so much more to it, and that's these character cards. There's 5 characters you can play as. They each have their own starting health. It's a little bit different than just playing the vanilla game. They have, I think, a ability you can use every turn, an ability you can use once per game, and they have different starter decks. So each one, it says, okay, take 5 gold, take 2 arrows, take 1 bow, take a potion. So instead of having everyone starting with the same deck, each character has a deck that really mirrors their ability and kind of their class. So you have Ranger, Fighter, Thief, Cleric, and Wizard. So their decks kind of mirror what the character is.
They are definitely very, generic fantasy things, but they do it very well. They're not really trying to do this world building where they have all these different characters and they have different factions in there really all that much. You don't have to try and dive into the lore super deep as you would with other games. Okay, I'll just go ahead and throw out some properties out there like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. A lot of those require you to, know the storylines beforehand, or, Fantasy Flight tries to build their world with Descent and their Terranoth universe, and they try and come up with characters that you see a lot. And here they don't really do that much. They're just kind of they're admitting look, it's generic fantasy. We'll put as much effort into it as we need to for you to feel that it's generic fantasy, but at the end of the day, who cares? Let's kill each other.
Yeah, very loosely based off of the D&D class mechanics, but there's not I'm a half goblin, half elf, wizard cleric. It's just, look, here's kind of your starting class. It gives you these special abilities, and then from there the game continues on as normal. However, I think that it makes it a little bit different. There's a little bit more going on, and it does help that ramp super fast. On your first turn, you could be dealing 10 damage instead of I got 3 gold in damage.
Yeah.
So the game, I think it moves a lot quicker, and you're doing a lot of damage quicker, but there's also some really powerful healing cards, which also, even though you're doing more damage, it balances out in that way.
Right, you hit the ground running faster, but it doesn't mean the game is that much shorter.
Yeah.
And with these hero packs, they are extremely well balanced. Every game we've ever played with them has come down to the wire. Has been okay, right here, boom, I kill you. Oh, you just got me? Because I was going to get you next turn if you didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like, oh, this one guy, and it even kind of it looks like it would be. Like, the fighter starts with 60 health and the wizard starts with 50, and he has so much more damage in his starting deck, you're like, oh, he's going to crush. But the wizard's abilities to look through your deck and draw extra cards and all this kind of stuff.
And like cat negate familiar. Their cards and like the cat familiar.
Boom, right there. But they're so surprisingly well balanced, and that I can't really say that I have a favorite. And I don't even know if I would need to have a favorite, because I would definitely say that all of them are a requirement with Hero Realms. It's not like, well, if you only have enough to get one or two heroes, these are the ones you should get. Nah, dog.
Yeah.
You need to get all of this together as one set. That's how you should buy Hero Realms. You should never just buy just the base set.
Absolutely. And like originally looking at it, I'm like, oh, I tend to be like, oh, Thief, Ranger, like that's where I hang out in like the D&D kind of games. So I was like, oh, I want to play as those. But playing as like the Wizard or the Cleric, again, it's not like, oh, well, you're the Cleric, you don't really fight a whole lot, you just have a lot of health. Like, again, they're all balanced, they all fight really well, and it's not super heavy, like, this is a Thief, everything from there on out is Thief. It's like, you have an ability that kind of is a Thief ability and some of your starter cards. But again, that's only 10 cards, and really 5, because the other 5 cards are typically like the gold or generic starter cards anyway.
Right, but the 2 cards aren't counted as that. You have 2 cards that start already on the table that aren't counted in your 10-card starter deck. And that's what you were saying, the one-time use ability and the every turn ability.
Yeah.
And that's really where a lot of the flavor is. It's that, and then you said, you're right, like the starter deck has, 5 cards. That's where the flavor is there, but it's up to you to build off of that. You know what I mean?
So even if you start with like a heavy healing deck, you can then just buy all heavy damage, heavy hitter cards, and then play super aggro, even though you're playing as a cleric.
Yeah, you can still play to whatever style you want to. It is suggesting you to play towards the style that it, starts out as, but there's nothing requiring you to do that.
There's no limit, and there's no negative to not either. Like,
Correct.
I didn't see like, oh, well, it's really only designed to play this way, so if you don't build a deck around this, then you're going to lose. It boils down to being one of these Realms deck builders, which is just build a deck with great combos and you're going to crush no matter what combos you're doing.
I have so far been absolutely loving Hero Realms. I have almost no negatives to say about it, except for one, and this is a very nitpicky, petty thing, but it's the box size. Like, okay, Star Realms came in like that deck box.
The tuck box.
Yeah, the tuck box thing that they kind of knew that you were... It served 2 purposes. Okay, hey, look, it's very travel size. You can throw this in the glove compartment of your car. Or, hey, ultimately, we know that there's going to be more stuff coming out for it, and there's going to be another storage solution. Here, I think during this Kickstarter campaign, a big part of it was they were going to upgrade the box and make it better. And this is a really good quality box in terms of the cardboard, and, like, it looks really good. The printing is great. However, if you were to add, this is just for the base set. If you sleeve the cards or if you add these hero packs, which I believe to be 100% essential, this is kind of useless.
And these come in like foil packs, right?
Yeah, they come in like the little tear. I mean, it's not, it looks like Magic the Gathering, but it's not.
Yeah, so obviously you can't store them back in that. You have to put them somewhere. And with sleeves, they don't fit.
No. I know they are going to come out with a solution for this. They already have one for the Epic card game and Star Realms, so we can kind of, historically, we know that that's probably something that's going to come up. But in the meantime, it does kind of irk me. It bothers me. And again, I know it's such a small, petty thing, but...
Why can't companies just make a box that fits things sleeved? Like, they either say, oh, well, it's going to be a small box game, let's make it as small as possible so it can only fit in the original packaging and there's no way to sleeve it or anything. Or it's a big box game and it's like Lay's potato chips and like 3/4 of the box is just open air for like one deck of cards. So I think there should be some balance. We know they're going to come out with a storage solution. I don't know why they don't start with that storage solution.
I mean, that way you buy this and then you buy the storage solution. And I mean... That's business. That's fine. I'm okay with it. But I feel like, and maybe that's something, that's up for discussion. Are there enough people, are there enough gamers in the market who sleeve their games and who run into this issue and, are as angry about it as we are, that it requires companies to actually listen to them? Or is this like 90% of the population is fine with this and we're the few people who are going, change for us, and they're going, no, you're 10%. Ultimately, I absolutely love Hero Realms. I love all the Realms games, and this might be my favorite. I think Colony Wars is a close second, and again, I kind of think of Star Realms original base set and Colony Wars as two separate games. But if we're just comparing base set to base set, it's a much closer race. The fact that we have these hero packs here, that makes this, to me, so much better because it really increases the variety. It increases the player count, too. Now you can go up to 5 players with this, which, as a multiplayer game, I never really liked the Realms ones. I really feel like it's a 2-player game, but it does give you that option if you're down for that. But ultimately, I absolutely love the Realms series as a whole, and I really believe this is a perfect fit into that lineup.
I would agree that if you're just judging the Realms together, this one doesn't have anything that, the core set, just the base game, that shoots it way above any of the other Realms. If that's just all you're looking at, then pick your favorite genre. You know, the D&D, the Cthulhu mythos, the space sci-fi thing. You know, and it's nice that there's that option for each of you. It's like Munchkin in that way.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Just, pick whatever theme you like or get a couple different themes if you want. I don't think there's any way to mix these Realms games together. That would be wicked. And that,
I mean, you probably could. It would just be weird.
Yeah. However, the character packs just set this so far ahead. It makes it feel less like just an absent-minded filler and just a little bit more like a more complete game. I don't know if it's just the fact that you start with a more specific hand and so you hit the ground running more, or if it's just that every game is a little bit more different because you have the different abilities you can play instead of like, okay, well, I start off with, I got, 4 spending points and 1 damage point, so obviously I'm going to pick this, obviously that. Since you can start off saying, oh, I could have 10 points to spend, or I could have 13 damage if I did this, and like round 2, it makes the game seem more epic. So I would definitely, if you are looking into getting this game, I would definitely recommend it as long as you were getting the hero packs. I think that if you wanted to try it without the hero packs, you could, especially if you've never played one of the Realms games. If you have a lot of experience playing Star Realms or Cthulhu Realms, I wouldn't even bother playing the vanilla game unless you just wanted to get used to the new tap ability or exhaust abilities.
Oh, we're gonna get so sued.
Other than that, again, it may be one game, maybe a teaching game, but really you have to get the character packs for this game, and I think you should. I'm not saying that it's a waste of time unless you're willing to put the money in. I'm saying it's worth it to put the money in to get the hero packs.
Now, I know most of this video we've been comparing Hero Realms to Star Realms, and that's all fine, well, and good, but if you've never played any of the Realms games at all, what we want to say is we do highly recommend this. The Realms series is very high on our list of favorite games of all time, and also really of the deck building variety. Deck building is a really cool mechanic. We love a lot of deck building games, and this is one of our favorites. The fact that this is just a different version and retheming and everything, that's why we're kind of at odds, because we've already played games that are extremely similar to this. We've already played Star Realms a whole bunch. But if this is going to be your first jump into the Realms series, this is a great place to start because you do really hit the ground running, and I highly recommend that you get the hero packs along with it because you can certainly play the base game and get used to it, and then you'll have kind of a sequel to the game where you get to start using the hero packs as well and really customize it and change it up. With the other Realms games, you will play that game to death and then kind of go, okay, what else is out there? With this, you can kind of get it as one package and experience the game in different levels.
Yeah, so if you're interested in checking it out, there's going to be a purchase link in the description box down below. Give us a comment and let us know what you think of this game and what you think of the box size and the fact that there are the character expansions while you're down there.
And hey, subscribe and you'll never be bored. This is how you type.
This is how you type. This is how you write chipmunks.
This is what it's You've never heard a chipmunk before.